thing, including economic crashes, political instability, and even hyperinflation. To find out more, get your free info kit on gold IRAs by texting the word FAITH to 989898. Birch Gold Group is the only gold company I trust. Get their free info kit and see how a gold IRA can help you. Text FAITH to 989898. Remember, there's no strings attached. Text FAITH to the number 989898 right now, and I pray you're blessed with continued prosperity.
Here's the latest forecast from the News 10 NBC Weather Center for tonight. We're looking at mainly clear skies, still a frosty chill in the air. We'll dip into the teens and 20s. On Tuesday, should see a good deal of sunshine, a little milder. Temperatures will get up closer to 40 in the afternoon. On Wednesday, with partly to mostly sunny skies, we'll be closer to 50 degrees. Still very mild with some rain showers coming in later in the week. I'm Rich Canilia, WYSL.
Now get big midwinter savings on the Comfort Buddy, Aaron Moore's famous smaller heater for the guest room, laundry room, or sun porch. The Comfort Buddy offers the famous Aaron Moore advantages like no exposed hot surfaces, child and pet safety, plus big energy savings from turning down your furnace. Call 800-707-8725, extension 2 to get your special sale price. Upgrade your Comfort Buddy with an optional air purifier. Don't forget to use the promo code WYSL, 800-707-8725, extension 2 to stay warm and save.
I'm Stephen Nichols. Since last spot 84, Nichols has been a family-operated and trusted name for home service, where we provide
jingle next
installation and service. Nichols Service.
Jingle next.
Checked, and we build our company on world-class communication, serving Monroe County and the surrounding areas. Call 585-427-9310. That's 585-427-9310. Or visit nicholsep.com. We would love to serve you in your home.
WYSL. The WYSL stations bring you Jose Pio and LaVelle Lewis and your weekly dose of PCP. It's your hour of common sense with the politically correcting podcast and show.
You get the power to make power go.
Ready to go? We good?
We are so ready.
Oh man, I feel like we haven't been here in weeks, man. It feels like there's just been so much that's happened in this world in just the past week. But today we are blessed to have a special guest in this room today. I see him as a personal friend, fellow veteran as well, and a all around. You're too nice of a dude, man. I don't like nice dudes. You're like one of the only nice dudes I enjoy hanging out with, because most of them I'm just like, man up, bro. No, you're good. You're a good guy. Christian Garzone here in the station with us. Thanks for coming.
Thanks so much for having me, Jose. Pleasure to be on.
Absolutely. So I know most of the time people start off an interview like this with, hey, tell us about yourself, yada, yada. No. This is my question.
All right, go for it.
All right. What were you thinking getting into the media? Oh. What got you into such a destructive force I'm just joking. What got you into it, honestly? I know you were doing it in the military.
No, it's okay. So when I was in the Navy, I was in boot camp. I wanted to be like a photographer or something. And for 2 years, I was on the USS Nimitz with no job, but I fought my way to be a journalist. I really wanted to travel and tell the stories of the military and what happens. It's a very, very exciting job. And I kind of segued into it via that way. And I was a radio DJ in Tokyo. I was a wonderful life. Yeah. But I had epilepsy. I think you know that. After 5 years in the Navy, I had to be retired because of my epilepsy, had 3 horrendous seizures. So retired, got my master's from Syracuse, thanks to the GI Bill. I wouldn't have gone there if I didn't have the GI Bill. But the DOD rehired me to be a military journalist again and lead a military news team across the Asia Pacific. We'd be based out of Japan. Then we'd be in the Philippines, Thailand, Sri Lanka, Singapore, telling the stories of the U.S. military working with other militaries, doing all the great good that they do across the world. And so it just kind of segued from there.
So was there someone in particular that you looked up to back in the day when the media was actually, yes. I feel the media?
Yes. Back in the day, like Bernard Shaw, CNN, like what happened to those days? It was just like, here's the straight poop, here's one side, here's the other. Now it's pretty much editorializing, I would say, on a national level, I'll say, not locally. I want to draw the distinction there. But from a national standpoint, it's very opinionated. I kind of miss sort of like the McNeil-Lehrer NewsHour type of thing that my dad watched all the time as a kid. I thought it was boring. But as a kid, looking back on it, it's like there really was kind of two arguments, and you could make up your own mind as the viewer type of thing.
As it's supposed to be.
It's supposed to be.
Now it feels as if they're just the megaphone for the White House, let's just say.
It's awful. I had a conversation just the other day with somebody who has TDS, Trump derangement syndrome, and they were just giving these sort of talking points, parroting off MSNBC or whatever. And this person was telling me, when the president tells you to sign a border deal, you sign it.
Oh, geez.
And I said, wouldn't you want to ask questions? And I don't have the energy sometimes to engage with folks. I just kind of said, okay, all right, that's fine. But wouldn't you want to question it and look through the border deal and see what's in it? Because there's a hell of a lot in there, you know?
Don't you hate that? That's like one of my biggest pet peeves with these, when you get to a certain level, you've got hundreds of pages in the legislation, and it has so much pork belly in there. It has so much freaking junk that's just thrown in there. Well, you say yes to this, but that also means you're saying yes to this. Yeah. As an average everyday person, you see that. Yeah. How do you feel about when you hear that exact thing with the, if you pass this funding for these 5 wars that we're trying to fund, then maybe we'll do some work on the border.
I know, maybe. For the past 3 years, it's been horrendous. And I don't know who's really buying this narrative that it's the GOP's fault, that the border crisis is what it is. What did Biden do? He undid like 94 executive orders that President Trump did, remain
like the first day.
The first day, day one. And then this influx of people. There was like a dinner bell moment in 2020 where during the Democratic debate, they asked all of them, Buttigieg, the rest, would you give free health care and free goodies to, and they all raised their hand.
All of them.
That's ding, ding, ding. That's a moment where it's like, well, let's get going. Let's head that way type of thing. There's been a series of decisions that I think Democrats have made when it comes to the border. And now it's an election year. Must be, because now all of a sudden it's the Republicans' fault. And that whole, past that border deal, good Lord, 5,000 a day? I'm trying to remember the numbers.
Well, let's ask the black Republican bigot over here, since you you guys, the Republicans, happen to be the issue at the point where you didn't accept the border deal. Right. Our tax returns are 29% lower this year than before because you guys didn't pass the spending bill that you're supposed to. Our border is open because of Donald Trump.
Yep.
So what do you say to that? As one of the leaders of your party, in my opinion.
I know within this county, right? I would hope so. It's just another cycle, right? Every decade there is a cyclical event that the powers that be have. So whatever way they can use propaganda against whatever party at that time to push their agenda, it's the Republicans' turn right now, right? And for what it is that makes a conservative Republican, right? A lot of those ideologies that makes up a conservative, a lot of the things that make someone want to vote Republican is being used against them, right? So being pro-American is a problem,
right?
So, and the only way that type of thought gets put out there is it comes from the media. And it's strange when you look at all of the box media channels that we have out there. They're all owned by a specific number of individuals, a very small, minute group of investors. Of course, we got BlackRock, which is one of the investors in all of these news organizations. So you got to ask the question, okay, so who's really in charge of, what sets up a society and what they believe and how they feel? You know what I mean? So I kind of look at it to whereas as being a Republican, in understanding that it is propaganda that you are working up against, the challenge is, number one, you still have to hold your party accountable, but you also have to be able to cut through the BS and have a conversation like the one we're having today right now, to where we can kind of decipher what is BS and what is something that, as far as American citizens, we all should know and understand and not support or do support.
Yeah, because honestly, I don't know Christians I assume, I guess, at a certain point,
People assume, yeah.
Yeah, not only are you prior military, military veteran, you are very proud of the country that you live in, because I distinctly remember a post that you made, I think it was like on 4th of July or something like that, and it was you in the pool with your shirt popped off. You were doing it for the ladies, I know.
Oh, yep.
And you had the American flag flying, and you said something that was like, we're not perfect, but we're the best thing that there is.
The last best hope for the world.
Sure is.
And that's the thing that really irks me, is that now our military people are being utilized to do as the politicians want at this point, because I'm sure we have troops on the ground in these different countries. I'm sure we have them in harm's way. But at the same time, and on top of that, we've got, the interview with Putin, where he says, I'm willing to do a ceasefire. I'm willing to come to the table. President Biden hasn't even called me in 2 years. I haven't even had a conversation with him, but I'm sure willing to have that. Whether that's incorrect, whether that's propaganda, I don't know. I think that, someone wouldn't make up such a blatant lie if the White House couldn't just come out and say, well, here's my call log. This is me calling Putin right here.
They're the most transparent administration in history. Remember that. So it shouldn't be a problem.
And just looking at Biden himself, let's be honest, do we really think he's in control?
I don't think he knows who he talked to yesterday.
Exactly. Yeah, all the dead people he was talking about, the old German chancellor and everything else. Hey, man, I talked to so-and-so who died in 1996 yesterday. Yeah.
Right.
All right, great.
The crazy thing to me is, we have MSNBC up on the TV screen here. I tend to watch all the different news stations just so I can try to find some kind of semblance of, all right, somewhere in the middle, there is something there. But they're just so vastly different. And when I'm at the gym, my one time a week for 30 minutes maybe, I'm looking at the TV screens and I'm looking at them saying talking about the same topic and saying two completely different things. Mm-hmm. And then you see, Joe Biden losing track of his words, not knowing that he's talking about dead people, not knowing when his son died, not knowing when he left office, and all these things come up. And then you look at CNN and they're just now finally, they can't hide it anymore.
They've got to do something.
As much as Peter Ducey's out there asking the tough questions.
Peter Ducey, yes.
And they won't show that. I think they can't hide it anymore. Yeah, it's blatant at this point. 346-3000. We're here with Christian Garzon. We'll be right back after this break with the politically correcting boys here.
Where does it stop? Where do you dare me to draw the line? You got the body, now you want my soul.
To live the quality of life we deserve in truth and freedom, informed by our Constitution, our laws, and traditions, we need to pick the best leaders possible. Recent experience certainly illustrates that. Free and accurate elections are essential if we're going to restore our society and safeguard our rights. New York Citizens Audit is a volunteer, nonpartisan group which has been lobbying for open source audits of the State Board of Elections and reform of the electoral process statewide. Did you know Citizens Audit has uncovered over 1 million felony violations of election law, that in 2020 there were 625,000 more voter registrations than existing voting age citizens in just 6 New York counties, that there were 338,000 more votes cast than voters who voted? These are just a few shocking examples of the urgent need for reform. You can help. Visit auditny.com and learn the facts, how to volunteer, and make a difference in your community. Again, volunteer, donate, or spread the word. Start at auditny.com. That's auditny.com.
Youth for Christ Rochester needs to grow. Our kids are telling us they don't feel safe in their neighborhoods or rec centers, and they're asking us to be open more. And thanks to your support, we will. We're adding a weeknight and Saturday mornings to our basketball program. We're adding a second Arts Academy Friday night, and we're adding a second P31 girls class on Saturdays. But we need your help. $25 per month funds a kid for a year. Give your best gift to yfcrochester.org/donate.
Advertising on the
Last spot
is both affordable and effective, but it's so much more than that. When your business or professional practice has a presence on the Voice of Liberty, you connect with a patriotic, awake, and aware audience that cares about society, our families, our schools, our values, and our future. And our listeners appreciate you and respond. We can end the madness together. For truth and freedom, the WYSL station's the Voice of Liberty. Call 346-3000 to advertise today.
Politically correcting.
And if you're just discovering the Politically Correcting show the first time, now that we're at 27,000 watts, be sure to give us a call. Let us know where you are out there in the far reaches of Genesee and Erie County and Onondaga County. Once again, here's Jose.
And if you have friends out there, tell them to listen into this show, because this network here, WYSL, is providing us and you with an amazing opportunity to hear both sides of the conversation, try to find some type of middle ground with the Politically Correcting boys here. We got Lavelle Lewis, who is our Black Republican bigot, as our favorite caller Keith would put it. Myself, the Jose Pio, Latino Democrat. We have the conversations. We go after our own parties. We go after each other's parties, because at some point we in America are going to have to come back and bring this country to a point where we feel comfortable living here and not comfortable letting just anybody coming into the border. Now, that's just me saying, I don't know what Christian Garzone would have to say about that. But one thing I definitely want to jump into before we get into the those type of topics is I want to kind of get into how the sausage is made with the media locally.
Sure. The sausage, great choice of words.
You like that?
Yeah.
I know.
Because the media finds a way to, you know what?
I know what.
In.
Because I've been on the inside. I know how politics is made, right? Mm-hmm. How that sausage on that side is made. Mm-hmm. And seeing it from the inside is completely different from what I thought it would look like.
Sure, yeah.
Right? So you being in the media and me seeing it from the outside, I get all the same emails from when I was on city council about all the different things that are going on in our city overnight. You know, we're getting 6 to 8 emails of stabbings, murders, kidnappings, this and the other. How does the media choose what stories they are going to put forth?
Sure.
And do you, as a reporter, have any kind of insight into that?
Oh, of course I do. Every morning there's a meeting where the heads come together and the news director's in charge, and we talk about what's going on for the day. I would really say local news is like that last bastion of hope, because we just talked about national coverage, how national coverage is so divisive and so opinionated. Local news, I never really got that. There's a lot of discussions like we're kind of having here, just people with different mindsets all talking about the best way to cover things, how to balance them effectively. And you were talking about crime there a second ago and asking about how to choose what to cover. You know, that's a good example there. Crime got to be so tough at times. We couldn't be in so many places at once, because after 2020, the crime rate with homicides, with violent acts, with shootings, with stabbings was so high. We just had to pick and choose at that point what we could cover, what we were able to. So there is that factor to it, but we always want to do it justice, whatever the topic is. And it might be, look, a coverage that lasts for 3, 4, 5 stories. It'd be easy for somebody to look at one of those stories and say, you just covered this angle. Wait a minute, this is one story out of like 3 or 4 of the same topic that you got to tune in nightly. We're trying to hit it up. But my time in local news was fantastic. I can't say enough great things about the people at Channel 8, of course, and 10 and 13 and Spectrum that I got to work with. I really, I missed the job a lot, but I think I've told you before, just the pay a lot of reporters make isn't a lot. That's a national thing. And either the phone going ping, ping, ding, 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 all hours of the day, all over the weekend for this, that, or the other. And the feedback you would get from people, wasn't always the best. There'd be a lot of times where people would confuse national coverage for a story that I did, and I would get the finger, like the sternum poke at the gym. That story you did on Trump or Biden, I didn't like it. Like, what are you talking about? I'm not, Greg Gutfeld, or confusing me with people. But yeah, that's it in a nutshell. I mean, there's a lot of discussions that take place all throughout the day. And I want to put one rumor to rest. People think that I didn't write my own stuff. I wrote everything I was going to say.
Okay, that's going to be my next question.
Yeah, I get that question all the time. What else would I be doing out there? I'm on scene, I'm writing the script, and I send it in. And there's maybe a few points here or there to make sure everything's balanced and, nothing is like hard hard to understand or might get us in trouble. But I wrote almost everything. 9 times out of 10, I would write everything, Yeah.
Okay. And one thing that happened locally that happened during COVID, I'm not sure if you saw the video of all the different news stations that were all lockstep in line of what they were saying.
Sure. Yeah.
Was that brought up at the show? Did they talk about that and say, oh, dang, this is what people are talking about?
Are you talking about like a national, like a sizzle reel of clips that were played? Is it what national stuff?
Yeah, like, hey, come to us. We are the ones who have all the information. We will lie to you.
Report to you, unbiased, and like 40,000 news stations are all saying
it's disinformation, misinformation.
Yeah, not just with COVID, but I see it a lot. Like those sizzle clips get played of just whatever topic it might be, and they'll play from all the national stations, almost like they're all writing it for the one person's writing it and disseminating it out to all the rest of these national stations. I see that a lot. And there's topics like the Hunter Biden laptop that's Russian disinformation. The next day, that's all Russian disinformation. It's like that everyone's saying it, and except maybe like Fox or something is questioning it. So yeah, there's that aspect to it. But again, that's national. Local, I can't say enough great things about local coverage.
So do they get any kind of material, like, I don't know, faxed in, emailed in, whatever it may be, that says, hey, these are the talking points that everyone is discussing today. Do something about this, talk about it in some kind of way?
Not that I had seen, no. We do include national stories in our newscast at times. That our parent company, I think, was CBS. So we would include like a CBS story in our newscast when we needed to fill time, or there's something that's just too important for the day to include. It would be a national package inside that newscast that was local. But there was never anybody that I saw who was like, you've got to cover this or do this. I don't recall that at all. Of course, the news director is the one in charge. And one refreshing thing I got to say about the news directors I had is I would try to gauge where they would stand politically on things. I could never, ever, ever tell. And that should be reassuring to the viewers, because the guy making the decision, I'm telling you, for 5 years, I knew the one guy there now, Rory. I still know him. He's around still. But I could never tell you where he stood politically, ever. And I would try to bait him at times, just like poke him. Yeah. And he would never shake. He'd be like, oh, yeah, okay, whatever. So it was always a good thing,
One thing that I did enjoy personally was during, when COVID was rolling out and I was speaking up against it, and the news media, I had my protest on January 1st, 2021. Yep. I had on it, to be very honest here, I had just came back from vacation. I didn't do no freaking go home for 10 days and stay away from everything. I went the very next day, went out there doing the protesting about the mandatory vaccinations, and the news stations were just hammering me with, who's saying there's going to be mandatory vaccinations? Who said they're going to be I'm like, they're going to coerce us into this. I'm like, I'm telling you, it's going to happen. And then what happened was they went to Michael Mendoza and said, this is what this councilman is protesting about. What are your thoughts on that? Michael Mendoza comes out with, there's no talk of any kind of vaccination requirements or mandating vaccines. Wink. Right. So I love the fact that when I came out with my information and then it had a differing opinion come in, and to combat that, I wish they would do that with every news story so that you can get both sides. Because that's the only part that I kind of miss about the local news from when I was talking my talk. They would always have 2 or 3 experts, I'm using air quotes here for everyone on the radio, experts, to come in behind and say, is this person lying about this? Is this really going to happen? But there's so many stories out right now that, like the shootings at Kansas City, the parade, they're not even talking about the fact that it's, 2 kids of color. I say kids, I have no idea how old they were. But the fact that they're not even talking about certain things, it feels as if the media is trying to hide something. I think that's what most people are, where they're saying, just talk about it. Just put the information out there and let us decide for ourselves.
Yeah, please. I think even Ann Coulter the other night on Bill Maher said, we know it wasn't a white man, because if it was a white guy who did this, it would be all over the
front
place.
Page.
And then who was sitting next to her? Van Jones?
Probably Van Jones.
And he was sitting, the look on his face was like, well, he's the nothing burger guy, right? About the Russia collusion. Didn't somebody take the videotape of him and he admitted that the whole Russia thing's just a nothing burger and they're just playing it up? And that was 3 years of time well spent.
Exactly.
Please, it's never about the story, it's the agenda. So the overall agenda is the most important thing. thing to the corporations that pay for this content to get put out to everybody else. And which is why they spend so much money to try and suppress information, goes through social media, right? So within just any type of news organization, the competition is the private journalists, right? The people who are out there getting information on their own from other places, other sources, and combating the whatever you want to call it that they give us. This I kind of
propaganda.
Yeah. So I compare CNN, MSNBC, even Fox, because they're both owned by the same company, Disney. I look at them as like McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, the box stores. You know what I mean? But if you really want some real information, you got to go to, not even Arby's. No, you got to go to the mom and pops. You got to go to the small business owners. Right. You got to go to the small journalists to get that information because they're the ones that's getting censored.
Like the politically correcting boys here at WYSL. That's exactly why I think a lot of these podcasts, a lot of these radio shows are coming up, because people look to the news and they expect you to give them the information without any biases. But so many people right now, they can't read through it and they somehow can't see that as biased reporting.
And you mentioned something that I had to do a lot of the times, which is watch multiple stations just to arrive somewhere in the middle to understand what's going on. Because there's value to both sides a lot of the times, but you have to watch a broad array of coverage to actually find out, okay, I think I get it now, but Lord Almighty, that was a lot of work. I should be able to watch the news. Yeah, it's a heck of a lot.
People don't realize how much work goes into just a 1 hour radio show. I see one news source and I'm like, all right, is that what it really is? And I have to go through a freaking rabbit hole of finding out where the real information is. They're talking about, the Republicans don't want this bill to pass because of this reason. And they're trying to put this in there so they can, get Trump in the end. I'm like, all right, let me find out what's really in the bill.
MAGA extremists. Get it right.
MAGA extremists.
MAGA extremists.
Weren't they MAGA or something like that? MAGA extremists?
However they want to spice it up, but we are all extremists.
The blood red stage. Remember that when Biden came out, the blood red stage? I was like, oh my God, what is this? It's like neo-apocalyptic type of talk.
I thought they changed the color on the screen, and then I looked, I'm like, oh my God, he really did that?
Yeah, it was a little bit much. But you're right, though. Peeling back the artichoke, because if you're off by like one little iota of something, it's like, well, that's fake, you're wrong, blah, blah, blah. It's like, geez, I'm trying to do the best I can with what's out there. I'm getting half the story here, the other half from here. It's a lot.
I appreciate your insight on that. We're going to be right back after this break here at the WYSL radio station with the politically correcting boys. Christian Garzone, 346-3000 is the number to call and get some inside info. When we come back, we're going to talk about your job at the VOC and maybe some other topics that you may not want to answer. We'll see when we come back.
Something I can use. People love it when you lose. They love dirty laundry. Well, I could have been an actor, but I wound up here. I just have to look good. I don't have to be clear. Come and whisper in my
Welcome, Hornell.
WYSL.
Proud to be your local talk station for great conservative, all-American programming.
Here's the latest forecast from the News 10 NBC Weather Center for tonight. We're looking at mainly clear skies, still a frosty chill in the air. We'll dip into the teens and 20s. On Tuesday, should see a good deal of sunshine, a little milder. Temperatures will get up closer to 40 in the afternoon. On Wednesday, with partly to mostly sunny skies, we'll be closer to 50 degrees. Still very mild with some rain showers coming in later in the week. I'm Rich Cornelia, WYSL.
You get it all. Savings, selection, security, and satisfaction when you shop at Victor Chevrolet. Now, lease a 2024 Chevy Trax 1 RS front-wheel drive. Just $189 a month for 24 months. Get the cold weather safety and capability of a 2024 Chevy Silverado LT Crew Cab for just $359 a month for 36 months. And then there's the 24 Chevy Equinox all-wheel drive LT. Only $199 a month for 27 months. $2,500 cash or trade equity at closing. closing. Tier 1 credit approval. Lessee responsible for repairs and maintenance. Must have lease and household for all these lease deals. Conditions apply. Get details at dealer. All factory rebates, incentives, and discounts waived. Whether you drive a Chevy or not, trust your vehicle to our Chevy Certified Service Department. And check out our great used inventory, too. Come see how easy it is to do business with us. Together, let's drive at Victor Chevrolet, Route 96 in Victor. Visit VictorChevrolet.com.
At Springwater Amish Workshop, storage sheds and gazebos are their business. For the new year, you can order right now and avoid potential 2024 price increases from the manufacturers. There's no down payment needed. You can schedule delivery whenever you're ready. Special offers to sweeten the deal. Get $100 off or a free ramp. Get super savings on in-stock gazebos, picnic pavilion, and select buildings. Choose exterior vinyl double 4 Dutch lap, pine board and batten, or smart siding. 2x4 16-inch on-center rafters. Half-inch 4-ply C-decks or OSB sheathing on roof with lifetime warranty. Architectural shingles, 5/8-inch exterior grade 5 plywood floor, 4x4 pressure treated skids, 2x4 16-inch on-center floor joists. These sheds have the best warranty in the business. Save big on 2023 lawn items stored for you till spring. Springwater Amish Workshop, 7936 Route 15 Springwater. Open new winter hours Wednesday through Friday 9 to 5, Saturday 9 to 3. Visit SpringwaterAmishWorkshop.com.
It's no secret, every business wants employees who are committed to doing a great job. I'm Steve Tasker, and I'd like to tell you about an easy way to reach a largely untapped pool of skilled job seekers. It's called the Employment Alliance, and it's part of Heritage Christian Services. Together, they bring new talent to businesses by matching people who have disabilities with employment opportunities. The Employment Alliance works with businesses to find talent and offer on-site job coaching. They'll also work with your business to develop individualized training plans, support diversity initiatives, and enhance your community connection and customer base. More than 100 area businesses have already benefited from working with the Employment Alliance. Even better, they're giving people with disabilities the opportunity to do meaningful work and demonstrating that they value equal opportunity and diversity. The Employment Alliance is a proud part of Heritage Christian Services. To learn more, visit hcsemploymentalliance.org.
Baskin Livestock success in recycling food waste into animal feed comes from a focus on growth and a belief that there's value in what others are tempted to discard. Their bank feels the same. While other financial institutions cycle through business relationships, Tompkins Bank knows the best things are worth preserving and lead to long-term growth. Tompkins, your bank of choice. Find out more at tompkinsbank.com.
Take it. How's that, Zach? Terrific, man. Hold on. Hello.
Honey, we need help. The furnace won't turn on, and it's freezing in here.
Oh, man, now I really got the blues.
What's the skinny, Zach?
The furnace is shot, and that ain't hot. What am I going to do, brother?
Call Taylor. 500 Help. Their heating experts will fix things up and have you singing in no time.
500 Help. Now that's a hot number.
I think I'm really getting it, man.
Call Taylor. 500 Help.
My name is Abby from Tom Walls in Avon. I remember my father telling me how he used to make Tom Walls homemade root beer. Now, I'm making it using the same recipe and still in small batches. Stop by and try a frosted mug of Tom Walls root beer.
We have Stryker on the line. Yep.
Dependable Disposal offers weekly residential trash and recycled tote service. Dependable Disposal, local business, local people you know. Call Dependable
Last spot.
585-505-1500. Let's see what we can do for you.
Politically correcting.
I like the song. We might have to just keep it going for a minute there.
Studio, keep it going, guys.
That's right. So you yet again.
I know, right?
We have so many strikes on YouTube. It's pretty funny.
They love us.
From the bumper music.
From the bumper music, yep. Stryker, we got Stryker on the line. How you doing, brother?
Good. How you doing, brother?
Good. What you got for us?
Well, I heard you talking about how much time it goes into making, whether it's a radio show or a podcast. And I know from doing my podcast, you can take, for 1 hour of content, you can take up to, and I take up to 3 hours or more of hunting down the information that I want to cover.
Yeah.
And when I do that, I always name the periodical, the person that wrote the article, and the date that it was published. And sometimes I have a really rough time finding information that I want to cover. And I'm just curious if that ever happens to you.
Oh, dude. Every single time I make a statement, the problem was you're doing it right. Thank you so much again, first of all, for calling. The issue that I come across is that when I don't post it, and I only post, what we talk about, then someone would be like, hey, where did you get that information from? In the back of my mind, it's not my job to do your research. I gave you my research. Yeah. I talked about it. If it comes out my mouth, in my mind, it's the automatic truth. Like, there's nothing else that I will open my mouth up for. That sounded kind of wrong, but it's the truth. If the words come out of my mouth, in my opinion, you should just accept that Jose has done the research. He has dug into the things that you're never going to look into, because I look at everything. Yeah. I'll look into what the BBC says. I'll look into what Times of Israel says. I'll look into things that you wouldn't look into. And when I see that, only Fox News is talking about it and no other, news station is talking about it, in my opinion, I was like, well, there's got to be something there, because if the other mainstream media is not even going to jump on this, right, then there's got to be something there that they're going to take a, Disney-owned company is going to go out on the edge and say that this is something.
And it just, I saw this video where they talk about this experiment where they put a bunch of ants in a jar, and they had red and black ants in a jar, and they were all fine until they shook up the jar. Once they shook the jar, then that's when the red and black ants started to attack each other. It's the same thing they're doing with our media, and within just what they provide on the right with Fox, they know that a lot of conservatives are going to be like, they're consciously thinking about everything. They're on point with anything that goes off or wrong with their country, they're pointed out. And they're going to give them a lot more truths than they're going to give them on the left side. To where now on the left, they're like, it doesn't matter about, what do they say? Facts don't matter, but truth does, more so than anything. That's what Biden said.
What does it even mean?
It makes no sense. It makes no sense at all. So for me, I like to put it like this. I would rather give you the Easter eggs that will push you to whatever part of a story that you research and find out on your own, because you may find something that I'm unaware of, right? And become enlightened, that we can kind of bring it to the table and further expand upon the conversation.
And I certainly post some of the things on the Instagram page. So if you have not gone and followed the Politically Correcting Instagram page, go there and check it out. I post a lot of what we end up talking about on there throughout the week. So kind of stirs like the hornet's nest to see what people are going to say. And then I can take those talking points, because what I love to do is I like to fight both angles so that I can come up with where it is that I believe. Because I think a lot of people just go to their news source and just parrot exactly what they said. Well, I want to know what the bleeding heart liberals are going to say. I want to know what the progressives are going to say. I want to know conservatives or Republicans are going to say, because that way I know where I stand. I know where their fight's going to be, and I can battle it immediately with the information that I have. Right now, though, the problem is so many things are not even being aired out there, especially when I'm never going to let the COVID thing go. I will never let it go. I will always talk about the ramifications of COVID, the ramifications of shutdowns, especially the ramifications of the vaccines. Now, you don't have to agree with me. That is perfectly fine. That's the country we live in. You can think of it your own way. You can stab yourself a million times with some concoction that you believe is going to prevent you from dying. Have at it. Your body is your body. Your body, your choice. I'm 100% behind that. Just don't get mad at me because I'm giving you information, right? If someone freaking falls down, passes out 10 minutes after getting the vaccine, it's like, oh, we got to say something about that. We can't just let that slide. But this is not a talk about the vaccine, because I can go for days with COVID stuff, man.
I've been out there with you with the protester there. I remember those days, yeah.
Bro, I will not, man, my wife is the same way. She's like, babe, what are you going to do now? I'm like, I don't care. I will never let this go. I will make sure everybody knows where they should be, where they should see, at least know what the ramifications could be if you decide to go down that path. I can't be the only one speaking up about it, but I will be.
Well, do you guys think it's fair, though, that let's say you do put the information out there, and the fact that you put it out there, people will attack you as if, just because you put it out there, you automatically believe everything that's being reported.
They'll attack a news source.
Yes, right. And they'll attack the source, right? As if, you're giving me uncredible information.
Right.
And that means not everything you said is null and void.
Right.
There's no truth to what you're saying now.
It didn't come from Christian Garzone on Channel 8, so I'm not going to believe it.
Well, I think what you're saying is like when you put just information from the CDC or local doctors out there, whatever the topic might be, say it's COVID, and then people attack you just for putting information out there.
Mm-hmm.
I remember during all the social unrest in 2020, which was night after night.
Such a nice way of putting it.
Yeah. I am being polite when I say that. Because it was not fun. But with, the night after night, a protest everywhere at the public safety building that went on forever. I remember one story. It was all this stuff about the voice of the protesters, and I put in one statement from police that was less than a paragraph. I was barbecued for that. Like, how dare you? Oh, this is propaganda. What do you think you're out here? And I'm thinking to myself, what? Like, I'm including this little bit the police said about the, whatever was being lobbed at their heads and why they decided to tear gas the crowd. That's their explanation. And it's like 10% of the story versus all this other stuff that, and then I got barbecued for that.
It's your white supremacy that was coming out in that article.
Yeah, listen, I grew up with so many friends in Ontario County. Middle income type of stuff. There are a lot of, modular home, trailer parks. I had a lot of friends there. People wonder in those areas what this white supremacy is and how can they get a hold of it because,
white privilege is not really working out for them.
Yeah, it's not. I don't get the narrative a lot of the times where people talk to me about, and I've had this happen before. People talk about my white privilege or supremacy. They see this tip of the iceberg while you're on TV. It's like there's this whole body of work that I've done. I stand on the shoulders of giants. A lot of people believed in me, but I put in a lot of work to kind of get here. And by the grace of God, here I am. Nope, that's this.
First of all, you mentioned merit and hard work, so that's problem number one. Right? That's problem number one. So you could not, as a white person, put in hard work and then not be, supported with the fact that just because you're white, that's why you're successful.
Yeah, it happens, or at least it happened quite a bit in news. People, the feedback you get from viewers, a lot of the times, I used to love when people would just say a nice thing, it was perfect, but then you get the comments, well, your teeth are fake, and is this just this stuff, and it drive you nuts because no matter how well you presented a story, did all the research, all the digging, there's always somebody who has an issue with it, and they're going to be a mouthpiece for themselves and whatever else. I'll share with you one story. One time there was a Back the Blue rally, and one of our new reporters went out and did the story. It was her first story. So I remember I retweeted it because I'm like, good for her. She went out and did this story, and I was liking some of the comments. One lady in the comments emailed all the county legislators, all the city council people, all the newsrooms that Christian Garzone is a secret racist because he is posting out this Back the Blue thing. I'm like, I just did this because it was this new reporter's first story.
I feel your pain. At least the media didn't tell people that you were a racist.
I tell you what,
they tried with me.
You fit the description of a white supremacist.
Thank you.
Because you have the beard and you speak your mind.
Yeah,
and military veteran.
Yeah. Oh, that's it right here. You got the
I go to church on Sundays too. Like I said.
Oh man.
And you're cisgender.
Oh my God. This is over.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Coming back after this break at the WYSL radio station with the politically correct boys and our guest here, Christian Garzone. Back.
It's our anniversary. It's our anniversary.
To live the quality of life we deserve in truth and freedom, informed by our Constitution, our laws, and traditions, we need to pick the best leaders possible. Recent experience certainly illustrates that. Free and accurate elections are essential if we're going to restore our society and safeguard our rights. New York Citizens Audit is a volunteer, nonpartisan group which has been lobbying for open source audits of the State Board of Elections and reform of the electoral process statewide. Did you know Citizens has uncovered over 1 million felony violations of election law, that in 2020 there were 625,000 more voter registrations than and existing voting age citizens in just 6 New York counties, that there were 338,000 more votes cast than voters who voted. These are just a few shocking examples of the urgent need for reform. You can help. Visit auditny.com and learn the facts, how to volunteer, and make a difference in your community. Again, volunteer, donate, or spread the word. Start at auditny.com. That's auditny.com.
The 2024 Batavia Downs Summer Concert Series has been announced. Come see bands like Smash Mouth, The Bacon Brothers, 38 Special, April Wine, and country music star Clay Walker. There will also be tribute acts paying homage to Fleetwood Mac, Tom Petty, Heart, The Doors, Chicago, and Styx. It's going to be a great summer, all summer long at Batavia Downs. Get more information and tickets today at BataviaConcerts.com. That's BataviaConcerts.com.
If you're looking to market and grow your business, make new business connections, and give back to the community in a meaningful way, consider joining the Greece Regional Chamber of Commerce. We're the largest suburban chamber in Monroe County, and we offer networking, education, marketing, insurance, and advocacy. You do not need to live or work in Greece to join. Our members come from throughout the region. In short, we're better together, and together, we're moving business forward. Visit greecechamber.org or call 585-227-7272 to join today.
Politically correcting.
We are back here at Politically Correcting Boys with Christian Garzone. Thank you again for coming on and having this conversation with us. I'm sure the Veterans Outreach Center was like, oh boy, you go talk to those guys.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. But Veterans Outreach Center, you brought it up, so I'm going to talk about Veterans Outreach Center real quick. People confuse VOC with the VA. I wish that when I got out, I knew about Veterans Outreach Center. You served as well. I don't know what your transition was like when you left Army service. In fact, what was it like for you?
I never transed.
You know,
I stuck the same.
Your journey to civilian life, I should say.
It was weird because it's like every single day you knew what was expected from you. Yeah. You knew what you did. As soon as you woke up, you're timed out every single day. You know exactly. And then you get out. It's like,
here you go.
Crap.
Somebody compared it once to getting out of jail. And I was talking like it's that checklist. And all you're focused on is getting out and doing whatever you can. You're not really thinking about the tools they're kind of rushing to give you. So I think Veterans Outreach Center is wonderful because when you get out, it should be your first stop. We are employment and training. Need help with your resume? We're here to help you. You want to know how your military skills translate to the civilian world? We can help you. We're also a homeless shelter. We're a food bank. We're like a Salvation Army with gently used clothes. Stop on by. Services for you are free. We could even help you get your DD-214. I know you guys know what that is.
Yeah, I know what that is.
Yeah, I know.
And it's not easy to get that bad boy.
I know.
And you need it for everything.
Yeah, everything.
Man, no, VLC has been doing some great work. I was working with them back when, been working with them for long ago with volunteer work. Sheriff Baxter was the executive director for a number of years there, and the homeless shelter, that place helped out family members. So, it's a great location. You probably saw a couple of videos of mine back in the day of bringing food there, Thanksgiving, bringing clothing there. If you have anything that you want to donate, do they bring it to the VOC?
Bring it to the VOC. We can take care of it. And I think that I saw the need. It was so well illustrated over Thanksgiving and Christmas. You saw a lot of people showing up for a basket of food or clothing or whatever we could do. And there are a lot of gift donations that came in, families who needed Christmas gifts for their family. There's a big need in this community. And we have a very high demographic of veterans in this region, the 5-county area or so. There's a lot. And I think that says a lot about civic duty and service. We conduct our lives here in this area,
And to add to that, please do not give anyone on these street corners any money, anything that when they have this little sign that says, I'm a homeless veteran, help me out. Bring it to the VOC, because these homeless veterans, I'm using air quotes here because many of them just fake it. Bring it to the VOC. The VOC actually puts that food, puts the clothing, puts your money to really good use. I can't speak well enough about them. The Flag Day, I would help them out with Flag Day. I think that's pretty cool. We just hand out flags for some donations. They just do some amazing work. So, and you're absolutely right. And it's one of the oldest veteran organizations, isn't it?
It's been around since 1973, started by a group of Vietnam veterans. And we know about the Vietnam era and say when it came to the Veterans Administration and trying to find resources and what do? It was a very, very hard time for them. And they kind of pulled their minds together and resources and said, let's be a beacon of hope for those returning to get them on the right footing, because it was a really hard time for Vietnam veterans coming home. And you look at the past 50 years, what VOC has done, it's really incredible. The journey has been amazing. Just look back at the history, the expansion, the growth, the investment in the community. It's huge.
Yeah, and you guys work together with the Veterans Service Agency as well.
And we work together, indeed, yeah. There's a lot of resources here for veterans, and I think that's a really good thing. Anybody can take comfort in and know that if you're down and out, if you need just a little bit of help or a lot of help, there's options here.
Just go talk to them.
Yep, just talk. Stop on by. I guarantee you there's something there for you.
Right.
You know, the crazy part about just when we talk about veterans and the trauma that they experience while being deployed or whatever, issue they had within their time in the military, these are young adults, right? So just teenagers. So just think the impact that any type of organization could have on these individuals. And now look at where our military is, where it's, we have problems where it's depleting. Our population, our military population is just declining, and we're getting more weird within our military.
It's okay. They're going to let the illegal immigrants become military members.
That's a problem. And just to hear veterans talk about, the current state of the military, where do you guys see our military going? Do you see that there is a potential need for a draft, or what should we do with our military?
It's a scary time geopolitically, and I don't know. I want to take comfort and think our military is up and ready for the task, but I don't know. A lot of funny business the past few years with military readiness, and now here we are with a powder keg in the Holy Land, and we've got Ukraine, we've got Taiwan and China. It doesn't look good. It doesn't look good, and I want to just hope for the best, but boy, oh boy.
I'm calling it right now. I've been saying it for quite some time now, but I'm going to blatantly call it out like I have before. I'm telling you, the only way that the U.S. government, if they were to turn the military onto or against their own citizens, would be that they're going to offer these asylum seekers free status as an American citizen for 2, 3, 4 years of active duty service, which they offer that currently. But it only makes sense if they got rid of a bunch of good, patriotic veterans,
right?
Only or active duty guys, and what we've seen during COVID was exactly that.
That's like George III with the Hessians and the Revolutionary War, like hiring the Germanic-speaking guys to come over. I don't know. I don't know if that would end well. I don't know.
Well, just within now with the powers that be, like our CIA, FBI, and also political leaders, they created the term domestic terrorists. And usually the individuals who are speaking up first and foremost and out there leading the way, they are former military individuals, military soldiers. So to kind of have the leadership or the powers that be kind of point the finger at the people, the citizens, and especially military veterans, there should be some sort of alarm being rang amongst everybody else. Like, yo, just because I disagree with you does not make me a domestic terrorist.
I'll say that to all the moms that showed up to the school board meetings and said, hey, I don't want porn filth in my kids' brain every day.
And they're domestic terrorists.
They're domestic terrorists.
Yeah, well, the Catholics as well, whatever it was. The long-line Catholics.
Especially the Latin Mass. Very dangerous.
Hey, stop him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird times.
Well, it's weird because there was a meeting and the FBI was there to talk about how they're fighting against hate crime. And this was more geared towards the Black community. Mm-hmm. Well, I got the guy in the corner after he went up there and talked about hate crime and stuff like that. And I asked him, I said, well, you talk about how you're going to go after hate crimes with the full force of the government behind you. Here locally, we're seeing the protesters outside of Planned Parenthood who are simply praying for Planned Parenthood, praying for the families, trying to get they're across the street from Planned Parenthood, and they are getting rocks thrown at them. They're getting freaking death threats and everything. And I said, are you going to go at them with the same fervor as any other hate crime? Just because they are Christian doesn't mean that they get to be terrorized. And they said, yeah, we're going to go after them with the same fervor. I'm like, will you though?
Yeah.
Will you though? Because, I'm not going to sit here and say that that they are attacking Christianity, but if you were to attack Christianity these past couple of years is exactly what you would be doing.
Well, we already know that there is an overall agenda to completely obliterate our Constitution. In my opinion, I can't say, okay, we all know. In my opinion, I do think that there is an agenda to obliterate our Constitution and, give the state way more power than it needs. And deserves, right? So just starting off with COVID, that was just one segue. Then they're going to use domestic terrorism as another segue. And within just all of these social problems that they keep creating, me as a Black individual, I don't have any fear of any type of hate from, any type of, I don't know, white guy or Puerto Rican, whoever. I don't know. Like who the whole supremacy. I mean, again, who am I supposed to be walking out and being afraid of just because I'm Black? Like this isn't 1890, 1900. I haven't seen a Black man hung on a tree in God knows how long, right? Like that's when it was real racism, and the Black folks at that time were way more prosperous than they were today.
Allegedly.
Post Black president too.
Yeah, I say allegedly. But
he's allegedly Black though. You're right.
No, I am not agreeing to that. So don't nobody clip that part right there.
That was all me.
And say Christian Garzone doesn't believe Obama was Black.
The Black guy.
I was sitting right in the middle. I just got my mouth.
It was the Black Republican bigot that said Obama is probably Black.
Jeez Louise. Christian, thank you so much for coming on.
It was a pleasure, guys.
Shout out to the VOC, all the work that you're doing over there and all the work they've been doing for a number of years. If you're a veteran, go see them. Go talk to them. Thank you for joining us here at the Politically Correct radio show on the WYSL. We'll be right back on Wednesday with some more amazing conversations with some ridiculousness from our White House. I think. We'll see what happens. Have a blessed day.
My choice in life, I would rather be with heaven, going close and each other, showing where our lives are at, and relating to each other. Just like strong will can be, insisting on laying down the freaking through the chick we see. I'm the man, yes I am, and I can never let you go. I'm the man, yes I am, and I can never let you go.
At AirQuip, it's all about your comfort. Comfort with our company, comfort with our team, and most importantly, comfort in your home. As a trained comfort specialist, we adhere to the highest standards of customer service, training, and industry expertise. With a trained system from AirQuip, you'll get the best products, honest prices, and service that's unparalleled.